All right, welcome back to Poppa Scott Productions and another episode of Poppa Talks. Today we have the one and only, the Colossal Mike Law.
You see, that's why that was a sign from God, a divine intervention, if you will, sir.
Absolutely.
You initially, when we went to the first one, you just addressed me as Mike Law. Now you did as Colossal Mike Law.
Huge. So you're from New York.
Yeah. So
what part of New York?
So originally from Brooklyn, New York. I moved to several parts, Queens, but then Long Island is kind of where I stood the last few years. Made my way back to Queens. Unfortunately, my car got broken into this week. It wasn't even my car; it was a rental. They broke the glass for what probably amounted to maybe $200. If they had left my cologne, my favorite cologne, I would have been okay with the break-in. I'm like, you know what? I could buy extra clothes. That cologne is timeless, and it's not a cheap cologne. So I was like,
So they took shirts?
So the first break-in, yes, there were more than one.
Oh my God.
In August, they broke into my actual car and stole $1,500 worth of merch. T-shirts, masks, fanny packs, I go, who in the world is going to sell this stuff? You know what I mean? But these guys are just all so drugged out of their mind. They don't care. So that was the first time. Second
Free
time,
advertisement. Well,
you see, you would think. I haven't seen anything.
Not really free.
As soon as I walk in there and I see somebody with a Colossal Mike Law shirt or a Deathmatch Mike shirt, I'm going to assume they stole it, and I'm going to just take care of business there. Nice. That's what happened. And then last week on a rental, I made the mistake of leaving my book bag, my gym bag in there with gym clothes. I mean, nothing crazy. Again, the cologne that I had, I forget the name. I'm so flustered. And they broke in. We saw the video, which is weird, just because everything was passing through, and all of a sudden the camera, you don't see anything other than the window shatter. There was nobody there. So it looked like it was edited, you know what I mean? But the guy swore that wasn't, the guy who had the footage. And I kind of believe him, I guess, because why would he bring me into the office to show me footage that was edited? Obviously I would have known, hey, that was edited, but whatever. So I moved back to Queens, and hopefully I'll be gone there soon. I hate it out there.
So tell me about what got your interest. I mean, when did it start, your love for professional wrestling?
You see, the first live show I ever watched, which to me to this day, that I remember, was Ricky Steamboat versus Randy Savage at Madison Square Garden inside of a steel cage. Now, this is the one thing I plead with promoters. Please put me in a steel cage. That's one match that when I see them put that up, it still makes me go back to when I was a kid. It doesn't matter where or even what kind of cage, but I always I just revert back to a child. And I remember watching, it's just athleticism, those two guys being two of the greatest of all time, and just seeing how people reacted, you know what I mean? That was so huge to me, even at that age. I think I was 6 years old, But my family's always had a love for pro wrestling. Puerto Ricans are very passionate about their pro wrestling. I mean, it goes back to Carlos Colon and in Puerto Rico, all that stuff. So it just, to me, I think it was in my blood. My grandfather, who I never met, he died the year I was born, was a huge wrestling fan. And I was telling my boys from the Fall Shelter, big shout out to the Fall Shelter, that no one in my family was ever you can't do it, or you should. They were worried. My mom never wanted to see her son get beat up and bludgeoned, but they were always supportive. But watching tons of WWF back when I was a child, watching some NWA, I even watched Glow. You know what I mean? I was so fascinated with wrestling. I was fascinated with the ring and just characters and the athleticism, all that stuff, man. It appealed to me, more than just a guy that was a fan. I said to him, I want to do this. This is what I want to do. Yeah.
That's really cool. So how did you get into the professional wresling, the independent?
Okay, so that happened in 98.
How many years? No, wow.
In 1998, yeah. Not 2008.
14 years?
I was 15 years old at that point. Yeah. Listen, if I could go back, I wouldn't change anything along the journey, but I would have probably developed more as a person before getting involved in the business, because there's a lot of mental toughness, a lot of emotional toughness, a lot of physical toughness that is needed to sustain longevity, which unfortunately a lot of people don't have.
Right.
It's not me trying to like rip on anybody, but it's true. I see it a lot. A lot of people just don't have all three of them combined to continue a long-term career or anything in this business, and you need that. You need all three of those. So I was 15 years old. I tried out for the wrestling team. I remember Coach Conley. He was a former badass Navy SEAL. I remember telling him, I want to try out for the wrestling team. Now, dude, I was 99 pounds, probably 95 pounds, and I'm probably being nice. In high school, I was 5'2", if that, and he laughed. Now, mind you, like I'm 14, 15 years old at that point, and to hear somebody like that who was legitimately a badass laugh, like, yeah, you'd get killed out there. And I was like, I didn't know how to, I took it the way I felt. I don't think he meant it other than the fact that, yeah, dude, you probably should hit the gym, and I didn't know any of that stuff back in the day, and he I tried out, didn't make it. So I was like, oh, my uncle was part of a small-time wrestling league in Brooklyn called Arena Puerto Rico with this guy named Pedro Rodriguez. And they were doing a block party show, which is completely illegal then. It's completely illegal now. There was no commission. And my uncle used to ref for the guy, but he got into it with a guy, one of the wrestlers. They legitimately took a Heineken bottle, popped him over the head with him, and put him out. Like, to the point where he never came back. Just old school shit. Sorry, language, guys. But then, Pedro Rodriguez met me, and he's like, "Yeah, we'll put some meat on those bones." You know what I mean? We'll get them. And then like guys like Homicide, SAT, Red, Low Key, I think Steve Mack too. A group of guys, Low Life Louie, Lathan, one of my original trainers. All those guys came through there originally, and then they got to a place called the Doghouse, which most people. I think both of those places should get credit because they helped the New York scene so much. You know what I mean? Like, the New York scene had a lot of its success based on the fact that a lot of these people started in those respective companies.
Absolutely. Wow. So who was your favorite wrestler growing up? Did you have one?
Okay, so Hulk Hogan I was a little Hulkamaniac, right? It was so bad that with WrestleMania 6 in Toronto, when he lost to the Ultimate Warrior, bro, I cried.
Oh.
I've never told anyone. I started tearing up, and my dad was like, "Why are you crying?" I couldn't even answer him. I was so heartbroken. He kicked out, damn it. He kicked out. Hogan, he did kick out at the last second. As I grew up towards, like, in the business and kind of learning, I started, like, idolizing guys like Eddie Guerrero, Chris Jericho, Dean Malenko, guys like that, like the small guys, but like had style and substance to them, I still believe Eddie Guerrero's the greatest. Overall, the greatest because he could do it all. Any style, his intensity. He could do a promo. He could make you laugh. He could make you cry. He was just so much more than just a wrestler. You know what I mean? He was just a complete package, and somebody like so smooth. I remember when he was in Ring of Honor and in the Indies, he would come out to that song, like by Santana. And it was true, smooth. The guy was incredible.
So how many years have you been in the biz?
Jesus, Papa Scott, you're killing me, man. So I started in '98 training, and then my first I can say official paid gig was in 2001. So that was for NWA Over the Top for Fred Rubenstein in New Jersey against Sam Shields, Sensational.
Oh,
yeah, we've been him and I get back and forth so many times. Still waiting on my 01 tour, Mr. Fred. So 2001, yeah, like till now, and hopefully more. I always tell people for 23 years, there were times that I did take time off from wrestling. You know what I mean? Like, it gets to the point where you start doubting yourself, especially in the beginning, middle 2000s. It wasn't as easy to get around. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't know people like that, and I was kind of in my own world and in my own head. I doubted myself a lot, and I let a lot of other outside sources speak to me. And I think the big thing to get out of that is that if you believe in yourself and you do something, you really want it, go out and get it. And there was a lot of mistakes and errors made on my part that I can own up to, in the journey, even recent as a few years ago. But, I'm grateful that I'm still here.
Very nice. So, Tell me about some of the bigger promotions that you've worked for.
Well, AEW obviously has to go up there because that was Philly this past year. That was cool, getting to talk to a couple of the people that I've met and been in the ring with and been in the same locker room with along the way. Ring of Honor, match with Shane Taylor. Infamous, I guess.
Yeah.
Got taken out in a minute. ECWA, like for all intents and purposes, I mean, they have a lot of experience. A lot of there's a lot of lineage in the ECWA. So ECWA, Super Kicked. I'll give Super Kicked out there in Canada a lot. Same thing with Demand Lucha. Battle Club, my home. Definitely big shout out to Joe and Fallout Shelter, which is our training facility. But Battle Club, definitely such an underrated company. Not to sound too, but AWA, Assault Wrestling Alliance, of course. You got to mention us over here in Maryland. So, it's been such a great experience, a great journey. I'm fortunate, man. I know so many of my contemporaries are still not here or not here any longer, or not around as much. So I'm grateful to still be here, still able to do this at a high level.
It's so cool because in this business you get to meet so many people. It's like I mean, we've been friends for a few years now, but you live in New York, I'm in Maryland, but we're friends, and that's just so cool. We developed this friendship, which is. But
it's funny because you and I haven't seen each other in how long? Like physically, we have not seen each other in
three years.
Yeah, for Delaware, right? Was that for 1CW? I think it was for 1CW.
It was a 1CW.
Yeah, it was 1CW. And then as soon as I saw you, it was almost as if we saw each other last week. You know what I mean? It just, you build these bonds with people in this business that it's almost like you cannot speak to each other like physically for years, but then you come back. It's like all right. It's almost as we picked off where we left off. So very cool. Hey, and what you're hearing back there is a bunch of bumping and falling.
They might be able to see a little.
They might be able to see it. Okay, none of my guys are doing that.
So I'm a big guy on training and seminars.
Right.
So
yes.
Tell me a little bit about you have a training school?
Yes. So we have the Fallout Shelter located in Pearson Street over there in lovely Long Island City, Queens, New York. It's myself, Impact star, superstar, I should say, Masha Slamovich, Jorge Santi, and Steve Pena. I think you get so many different experiences and levels of experience, as well as different ways to do things. I think you have to open up your mind, especially when you're training. There's going to be a lot thrown at you, and I'm not going to lie, we throw a lot at you. But I think if you constantly get the reps in, if you constantly come in and ask the questions, study the business, that's what it's all about. It's amazing, it's astonishing to me how many people don't watch wrestling that are in the business.
Wow.
If you're not watching the stuff now for whatever reason, I don't know, but if you're not studying the stuff from the past to say, hey, I could take that and bring that here, I just don't understand. It bothers me. It's like if we were playing a football game and we want to check out, the next team we're playing, we're going to check out to see what their defensive line looks like. We're going to take a look and see, okay, this person could, pose a threat. And I'm a big believer of just reps and studying this stuff and kind of breaking it down. I do it now too. I watch certain things. I'm like, okay, that's cool. I could probably turn that into something I could do. But yeah, we have that school. It's over 4555 Pearson Street in Long Island City, Queens, New York. You can check out the Fallout Shelter on Instagram, Twitter, all that good stuff.
So if somebody wants to become a professional wrestler, they can just come in, or call, or
yeah, you could reach out to either call, or you can reach out to our DMs. They're always open, and just let them know. We try to kind of get an idea of what people are looking to do. From what I gather from the people that come here, they want to make this a steady thing for them. They want to make this a career. The few people that have come through that just, I guess, figured this was going to be a hobby. It's a rough hobby.
Sure, absolutely.
I don't know. I can't imagine wanting to do this as a hobby, because it's like, you do know long term, probably not the healthiest decision to be throwing your body all over a ring with plywood and a little bit of a covering of padding.
I know this is you've wrestled everybody, but I know you have a list. Who out there do you want to wrestle?
It's such a long list. It's tough because I have wrestled so many. I was actually like naming some people that I was like, I'd love to wrestle Jay Lethal again. We did spar a few times. He's a guy that I feel like is so overall so damn good. You know what I mean? That it's to me, I'm at a point where I know a lot of promoters, and I appreciate it because to me, it's never a loss of like opportunities or work. It's always there. It's just I want to get put in there where people are going to test me. You know what I mean? How good can I make it? How good can I be? You know what I mean? And if I am being put in to help elevate others, it's never been a problem for me. I've done it. Believe me, even when I was green, I was doing this. But the idea is that can I hang with top level talent? Can I get in there and showcase what I can do compared? Because people don't understand. That's our competition, Papa Scott. That our competition is within the realm of how the fans view us and the value we bring. So if it's one of those things where as a competitor, I'm in there and I'm not performing to what they consider standards that are high with someone who's at that level, then I'm not at that level. And I can't be value. I can't show value. But at the same time, if I can hang with that person and show, hey, I'm at his level. Absolutely. At that point, the promoters, the fans will know that, and that's how you continue. Listen, I'm thankful for everyone who's ever done that for me. It certainly, I can't stress it enough. For me, there's never been favors. There's never been favors. I've never asked for them. I never asked for any opportunity that I didn't feel I deserved. And I don't want to go off on a tangent, but sometimes it does bother me that people that I was very loyal to could never reciprocate the loyalty back, right. And you know this, and you've seen it because, ties, obviously, with all relations you have, you've seen it, and it's bothersome to me. You know what I mean? It's not a lack of anything other than the fact that, you were kind of used, and that's fine. But then when it comes to the business end, because I've been both ends, I've been a promoter, I've been a booker, I've been, you know what I mean? Like, then it needs to be reciprocated. Because if you want me to go out of my way, which I will, always, because I feel that it's in my duty to do it and I have a lot of pride, then I think it should be also reciprocated by the people behind the curtain to make sure that, hey, let's give this guy an opportunity, you know what I mean? And not a half-assed opportunity, not a situation where you're put in a lose-lose. Let's give them an opportunity to showcase what they can do, and then I'll take the rest. If I drop the ball, it's on me. I can't blame it. And I have dropped the ball. Listen, in all fairness, I have at times dropped the ball. I've been harder on myself than anybody else will ever be, but I also know when I kill it and I do a great job.
Right. And because you're so critical yourself, that's why you're good.
Yeah.
Because without that, you don't care. I mean, come on.
Right. When young wrestlers ask me about, like pieces of advice, you see, I'm the kind of person, and you know me for forever. I don't offer any of my advice. I don't feel like it's not that I am one of those people that was brought up to listen, keep my mouth shut, and unless somebody speaks to me, I feel people it'll be more of an impact if you say less and mean it than if you say a lot and it's all bullshit.
Absolutely.
So for me, I think it's one of those things where I personally tell people, hey, find yourself one or two people. I'll just destroy myself. I didn't look that good. Oh, a little chunky. Stupid. My hair was out of place. It's very OCD stuff, man. It's really it's kind of like a condition, I think, but I don't know. But it's one of those things where the match could be good, but I'll nitpick the littlest things. You know what I mean? Yeah. Oh, my knee. Dude, I kid you not. My knee pad cover is facing a weird way. I'm not lying to you. This is exactly the mentality I have.
I get it.
I'm like, oh, my shoestrings like coming off my boot. No, I can't put that out there. It's very OCD bullshit. It's crazy. I get it. I am, but
those things work. Those things just get you a little more over.
Right, because I know people think, okay, well, your shoestring coming untied on your boots because you've been in a match for 10, 20 minutes, whatever. It's gonna happen. But for me, that takes it takes me out because I'm like, oh, just tuck them in, do something. Don't just leave them there, you know what I mean? You don't have to do it after every move, but just, I just look at that stuff. It's just very little trivial things. But for me, Azrael, who you know very well, such an underrated, underutilized, incredible in-ring talent. My God, I've learned so much from him. And my brother, Steve, referee Uncle Steve, I always send those guys stuff because I go, you guys are going to be critical, but you're not going to eat me alive. You know what I mean? They're not going to just like I'll eat myself alive and I'll just rip myself apart. Those guys will be fair.
Right.
They'll be like, yo, that was good. This could be better. You know what I mean? Like I always say find yourself one or two of those people because that helps a lot, you know? And so I mean, that's my take on that whole thing.
Cool. Well, I'm going to lead into my next. You sparred me with Azriel. But
he's another guy I would love to wrestle, by the way.
Yeah.
Him and I had this chemistry where it was so short-lived, unfortunately, when we were wrestling each other, that I feel we could have brought out even more. I mean, we had this match for plug in New Fear City, and shout out to my boy Casanova Valentine and the crew out there. We had a really stellar match during the pandemic that was, I don't think it was ever sent out. I don't think it was ever viewed, but if it is, please, I don't ask a lot. Go out of your way to see it. It was that good. I would put that one in the top 5 I've ever matches I've ever had, without a doubt. He's so good. I'm great, but he's really good.
So, tell me, I like to ask the guys about a funny road story or just travel. I know you traveled with Az and Joey and AJ. There's got to be.
I don't know.
You might not be able to tell.
Yeah, we might not be able to say some of these. Okay, this happened in the early 2000s, and I don't think it's because ribs were the thing back in the day. I don't know if you could do it these days without getting like reprimanded or being put on blast on Twitter.
Twitter could change.
I mean, listen, not all changes are bad. So to me, it was me, this guy Boris Naboka, Wes Craven, and Sam Shields. We were heading out to Pittsburgh, and I don't know if I should say this. Well, anyway, so I'm in the stall. Actually, I'm in the stall, and I'm sorry, in the urinal. I'm sorry, and Boris Naboka just like jacuzzi kicks me right into it.
Oh my God!
I was livid. Anyone who knows me knows I'm a very clean person. I'm like I carry sanitizer and all that stuff. Like I like to smell good. I like to look good. I like to like multiple showers, and I was so freaked out by that. I was so freaked out by that because he knows how like I'm a germaphobe.
Right.
And so okay, you son of, like I was like pissed, like literally pissed. But I also knew that this is. Back in the day, this is what it was. It was a rib. Like he kicked me into the goddamn urinal. So we stopped by later, and he's using the stall. So me and Shields, we take a bunch of water and we just start hovering over on him as he's in the bathroom, and we're just like, and then we just ran off. You know what I mean? Like we just ran off because we obviously knew it was us. I don't know. He couldn't see who it was. He was in the stall, but it's stuff like that we would do. We left somebody.
No.
They overslept. Whatever. I doubt they overslept. I think they just were partying too hard. And I was like, you know what? Let's just leave them. Let's leave them. Let's go. They'll just catch up to us. And they didn't. We knew they were okay because they had answered their phone. It wasn't like they were like we left. In the hotel room, they answered their phone. I go, hey man, like we're running behind time, dude. We got to go. We have another show at like 3. It was an afternoon matinee show. So they're in their room. I think they had a long night with certain people, and I was like, dude, let's go, man. We're gonna be late, and we're gonna leave him. Yeah, don't worry. He look, listen. If he really wants to be out here right now, he'll be out here right now. Let's give him 10 minutes. 15 minutes later, all right, man. Let's call him back up. No answer. Okay, call him back up. All right, boom. All right, we're gone. We give him plenty of time, and then he had to take a bus. He had to take one of those Greyhound buses out. It wasn't expensive, like a $10, $15 bus trip to the next town. But I was like that, man. If a show started at 5 o'clock, I was in the building at 9 a.m. I was really bad with that. People hated traveling with me. I was there before the ring crew. I was there. I was like, I just need to always.
Is that travel anxiety? Do you have that?
I think so. Yeah, I think part of me is like anything and anything.
Hate waiting.
Yeah, Newton's law, where it's anything can happen and will happen. It's kind of what it is, man. Like, we didn't. This in the early 2000s, we didn't have like Waze or Google Maps. It was like you printed out MapQuest,
right?
And then the funny thing,
hit your trip. I gotta go 200 miles. Okay, I'll hit my trip.
I didn't even. That's a good point. I never even thought about that.
I did. Because I was paranoid.
I never even thought about that. So MapQuest, we would call ourselves Team MapQuest because we would get in there and we'd go, okay, we're pretty much in a good area. We just throw the direction in the back. We'll figure it out. The rest we can read signs. I remember Sam Shields. I was sick, man. I was like, we were on Route 80 in PA, and I was driving. No, and I was like, dude, I gotta pull. I gotta get some rest. I'm dead. And I never let anyone drive. I always drive because I feel safer. And Sam Shields took over, and he's driving, and I hear Boris Naboka, Wes Raven's in the back with me, asleep. And I'm like, I'm out of it. I take some Tylenol or something. I'm out of it. And Jordan goes, yeah, I don't think Mike's gonna like it. You're doing this. And I'm thinking I'm dreaming, but it's very clear. You know what I mean? It's not like it's not like I can clearly hear him saying that. I'm like, what is he talking about? Like, am I dreaming that he's saying this, or is this really happening? And I feel the car backing out. Like, so I wake up. He goes, hey, did you say something about me not liking something? What happened? He goes, yeah, he backed up in the middle of Route 80 to go make a U-turn where the police normally do the U-turn because he missed the exit and he would have to have gone like 50 miles up. So he said he just backed the car up in the middle of the highway. I go, yeah, Sam Shields after a while wasn't driving anybody around. I remember he forgot which one was the gas pedal, which one was the brakes. I kid you not.
Oh, my God.
None of us could drive because I was exhausted. And I go, Shields, take over. I get in the back seat. I'm going to need to practice. Which one's the gas and which is the brake?
He was just messing with you. He had to be.
This guy, no, he hadn't driven in a while.
Oh, okay. Wow.
I know Sam. It sounded like he legitimately was asking this question.
That's funny. Oh, my God. That would have scared me to death.
You ever did the thing where you're so tired that this is crazy. And please don't anyone ever think that I'm recommending or even doing this. If you're that tired, pull over. Where you get so tired, they go, maybe I can give my one eye a rest. Yep. I'm going to give my one eye a rest while the other one's looking. And I used to do that. And you can't do it. It doesn't work. You end up falling asleep. You end up kind of trailing off on the road. And never, listen, God bless, never got into an accident. In all my years I've been driving, never got into a car accident.
Wow, that's cool. Yeah, I relate to that driving stuff because I do all the driving.
Yeah.
So, you've been in the business for a long time, over
23 years, yeah, I would say.
How do you stay motivated? What keeps you going? I mean, ups and downs, obviously.
It's a lot of ups and downs. And I'll say this. I had to kind of talk to they got two guys debuting tonight here at AWA. Both Orlando and Dave, good guys, hard workers. I think just realizing, okay, there was mistakes made on my part that kind of held me back. I held myself back a lot of times. And also, you can work hard and continue to put the work in, be whatever it is that you portray yourself to be. I don't make any bones about it. The person you see as Colossal Mike Law truly believes he is who he is. To me, it's not a gimmick. It is my persona magnified because I always had a Napoleon complex, if you will, right? But to me, the motivation is little things being contacted by AEW, having that spot with Ring of Honor, just getting to work MSG at one time, just going viral with the freaking dive through the chair, stuff like that.
Amazing. Yeah, I was going to get you to get you to recount that for me. I saw the pictures, but what that
was interesting. But what motivates me now, the Fall Shelter, just seeing people that I generally care for and passing along both.
Yep.
Both the stuff that I do know and the stuff that I made mistakes, because I won't lie to you, I've made plenty of mistakes. I've tumbled plenty of times. I took advice that wasn't good. I gave into things that I shouldn't have, and that's all stuff that you can pass along to people. That to me, it's about leaving a legacy. You know what I'm saying? This interview, anything we do going forward, or within the last few years, is me leaving a legacy behind. That one day when I die, people can look back and go, that guy, I enjoyed his stuff. I was a fan of his. You know what I mean? I just hope that people can really find out about me on a larger scale before that ever happens. we were talking about Patrice O'Neal. Do you remember the comedian Patrice
Yeah.
O'Neal? And how insanely talented and how funny he was, and then how when he died, people a large majority of people finally found out because it was all over the news. And like I don't ever want to be that. I don't want to be the guy that people just find out about when they're dead and buried. You know, that's kind of scary to me. But that's why I work hard, and that's why I continue to motivate myself, because I want to be the guy that kind of just, you know, wherever the chips may lie, I don't ever want it to be something that I didn't do that prevented me from not making it to where I wanted to be. I did everything I could. If it wasn't meant to be in the cards, then it's what it was. I don't want it to. I don't want my work, and I don't want my appearance. I don't want any of that stuff to decrease in value because if I'm not motivated, if I don't want to do this anymore, then I'm not doing it. I'm quitting. You know, like that's I can't put in a half-ass effort. That's just not me.
Yeah, very good, very good. That's not you, and your hard work shows off, dude. It really.
Thank you. You know, listen, I'm 40 years old, dude, and I feel great. I tell my students, supplement yourself, take care of your bodies. You know what I mean? Like, I don't like everyone at the fallout shelter, the coaches, that is, Jorge Santi, Masha Slamovich, Pena, myself. We all have different ways of doing this thing. The ultimate goal for me to these people is to make sure that they can do this safely and for a longevity. To me is key. You know what I mean? A lot of people come, they become the flavor of the month. They either get injured or they burn out quick. They don't know how to recover, and then they never quite make it back to where they want to. The key is to build, kind of climb that hill and then make it to where you need to make it, But that takes patience and time. A lot of times, as you may know, this modern generation of just people in general, it's not just wrestling. Across the board, it's not a lot of that patience anymore. It's not a lot of that build. They just want the instant gratification.
Absolutely. I was thinking the same
Very
thing.
dangerous.
Yeah.
Very dangerous.
You see it everywhere.
Yeah.
So, if somebody wants to get up with you, you got a Twitter, Instagram?
I'm going to give you all of it. All right.
Yeah,
you have it's simple. Colossal Mike Law. You can find me on Twitter. You can find me on Instagram. Facebook's a little tougher because I have plenty of friends, quote unquote. I don't know how many of these people are actual friends. But you can also follow my page on Facebook, which is at Colossal Mike Law. You can go to my Pro Wrestling Tees. If you can help and buy some merch, that would be very helpful right now because I have to recover a lot of funds in the next few weeks.
So it's Pro Wrestling Tees,
yep.
Colossal Mike Law?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. And then... And you follow my Barbell too. She's not here tonight. She's not gonna be able to make an appearance. She took the night off. She took a sick day, a personal day. It's at Barbie, at Real Barbie, the Barbell, on Instagram and on Twitter. So,
cool. Well, I like to close out my podcast by giving you an opportunity to ask Poppa a question.
Okay. Now, listen. I know there's a bias. I see you wearing the shirt. Do you believe that Ty Awesome was the guy to beat me when he did in Delaware back in 2019, was it? He won the title for me from Delaware at the ECWA. Do you believe... Once you share your opinion, I'll share my actual legitimate opinion about it, but do you believe he should have been the guy?
Well, I'm biased.
Right.
Yeah, but, I don't know. I don't know if I can answer that, honestly. I mean, I don't know. I wanted it. I can say that.
Yeah, no, I mean, listen, I mean, it was a big moment.
He had a lot of drive with him. He had a lot going with him. I think if it was going to be his time, it needed to be then, or it wouldn't have happened.
Okay. And, well, with that being said, I will say that I was actually making a comment to him. I go, to the guys, the students over at Fallout Shelter who just came in, I go, hey, this is the guy. This is the guy who uncrowned me as the ECWA champion. We're going to have to gang up on him later. But I'll say this. I truly do. I'm not BSing you because I think, because you're here and we're doing this podcast. But the reaction he got that night was amazing. It was so well deserved that I'm not just saying that because we're here, but I truly believe that. And I told him that night, I remember saying, like, listen, man, there were probably a couple of good choices for this one. I really do believe that you were the guy. This crowd wanted it. You gave it to him, and it gives me goosebumps, man. When you get those genuine reactions of emotion, that's what people don't realize. Listen, the flips and all that shit, that's all cool. I like it. I'm a fan of it. I occasionally do some crazy shit myself. Not that much anymore. But emotion. If you can get people emotionally invested in what you do, when that injury comes, when those pains come from doing this for a long time, that will relieve you from having to do that on a constant basis. You can still have a fantastic match. You can still tell a great story. But when you get them emotionally invested, it's a thing of beauty. People know what we do. It's been regurgitated time and time again. But if we can get these people to believe that is the reason that they paid a ticket to see them and get that emotion out of them, that's pro wrestling, guys. Absolutely. That's what it is.
That was amazing. He had a couple good matches like that. The one with you and then one with Chase Owens.
Yes, from the Super 8.
That was huge.
Yeah.
You really got the crowd into
big
that.
Yeah, big shot. That Super 8 was highly, it's just amazing. And it just goes back to, like, coverage and stuff like that. Like, I remember just thinking, like, how is it possible that with the talent that were on that Super 8 that year, that it didn't get the love that it should have?
Yeah.
Like, Richard Holiday, Chase Owens, Cheeseburger, Smiley, Ty Awesome, myself, Anthony Green. Like, that was a really good.
That was solid.
You know, it was a solid one, and I don't get it. I don't get why the magazines and the other publications didn't share the kind of love that it should have. You know what I mean? It's a Super 8, dude. Like,
they missed that one.
Yeah, you can hold your grudges against Tartaglia, whoever it is at the time. I don't care. Like, it's not about. It's about the guys who put their asses on the lines for you guys to be able to write the stuff about, to continue the tradition of the business. It's really just odd, very odd to me.
Yeah. Well, look, buddy, I appreciate you.
Oh, man, I could do this all day.
I know, this is great. I know we got a show to do here.
Oh, we do have a show.
I got to move my commentary stuff. So, hey, man, I really appreciate it.
Much love
great
to you, brother.
to see you again. Man, I miss you guys. I miss seeing you every month like we used to. And
except that AJ Pan. I don't know about him.
Yeah, well, he's always posing with these hot-looking girls, though. I give him that.
Yeah, I don't know how he does it. He does, but never really brings any of them around to come hang out. It's,
they're all friends, I think.
Yeah. Well,
Anyway, man, awesome. I appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
Have a good night.
We shook hands.
Yes, sir.
We put away our war between your son and myself.